Hi, Gary Stearman. My pleasure to be with you once again from Prophecy Watchers. We've got a great announcement that we're going to be making in just a minute or two. But first, Bob Ulrich is with me in studio today, and we're going to do a little reminiscing, looking back over the past year. Bob, it's been quite a year.
Well, it's actually only 11 months, Gary, so
All right.
I'm already correcting you. But you know, those last 11 months have been something, to look back on fondly. Look back on starting with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you've said it before, no building, no cameras, no computers, no studio, nowhere to work. We started off from your family room with a little camera, one little camera, and some cheap lights, and from my dining room table.
And Bob's been one miracle after another. And I don't use the word miracle loosely. We've been blessed of the Lord. For example, office furniture. We didn't have office furniture. And a gentleman was downsizing his office, a friend of mine, and he said, "Do you need office furniture?" And I said, "Do we ever?" And it's been one thing after another, just like that, Bob.
We went and picked it up, and my back is still hurting. But we moved all the furniture into our temporary headquarters, which was actually your church. The people of your church were generous enough to allow us to occupy an office there for a little while. But looking back, it's been far more than just office furniture. Starting a ministry is an overwhelming task when you actually sit down and figure out what you need: computers, databases, phone systems, office furniture, bedroom furniture, and all the different things that have gone into the launch have all been provided systematically, one by one, by the Lord.
Oh, bedroom furniture. Why would you need bedroom furniture? I can hear somebody asking that. Well, it's because we have a beautiful studio, and it's a fully decorated, fully appointed. It started out being basically a showplace. It ended up being an office, and it has a guest suite in it, so that when we invite people in to do programs with us, they've got a place to stay.
Well, the Lord didn't send us just a building or a strip center. He sent us a Roman villa. He sent us a home that was in kind of a little bit of an odd location for some, been on the market for a long time. And when we came in and made an offer on the building, we discovered that due to circumstances, the owner was anxious to sell, gave us fantastic terms, and we moved into a building that literally is a palace by our standards. In fact, the first time we looked at it, you looked at me and you said, "Bob, we can't move in there. That's too nice." And I agreed with you. And we didn't do anything for like 2 months. And 2 months later, the for sale sign's still up. And I said, "Gary, let's go look at it." We went and looked at it. We moved into this beautiful studio with this beautiful fireplace and bookcases, the master suite, a full kitchen, offices, a garage, which is now being converted into our shipping headquarters.
Absolutely.
So we moved into a building that 17 years ago when it was built, the people who built it didn't realize they were building it for us.
They didn't realize.
But the Lord knew.
Bob, remember our first P.O. Box number?
How could I ever forget? P.O. Box 57757, the Shemitah year.
Yeah.
Now, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, this, when we looked at it and realized what those numbers represented, we were like just overwhelmed, thinking the Lord knew where we were going to be and what we needed, and this was confirmation.
And the matching gifts. Tell them about the matching gifts.
Well, we wouldn't be here today without a matching gift offering from a gentleman of $100,000. And not only did he give $100,000, he encouraged each of you to match that gift, and we did that in record time. And that's what launched this ministry. That's what bought all this television equipment, all these computers, all the things we needed to get started, phone systems, internet access. It was a miracle sent from above.
And, by the way, our good friend Tom Horn has worked with us. We have, I guess you could say, parallel ministries. Tom's been a great friend of Prophecy Watchers. In Missouri, with Skywatch TV, he has launched. We helped him launch. He helped us launch. We're working together. Tom's been a great friend, and by the way, he's going to continue to work with us in the future.
Well, we've worked hand in hand and closely with Tom for over 5 years now, and when Gary and I made the decision to move on from our previous ministry, Tom was there with a lot of encouragement, with a lot of help in a lot of different ways. And he's been a blessing, and we've always said, literally from the first day we met Tom Horn, do you know that he went home and said to his wife that night, "I can't explain to you how I know this, but there's going to be a point in the future where we're going to work together with those guys. And that was a Tom Horn prophecy come true. Not scripture, but it actually happened. And here we are together with this synergistic relationship. We had several goals when we started this ministry. We have 1 month to go to reach all the goals. We're 11 months in. We have actually launched here just in this last month our first magazine, The Prophecy Watcher. And that actually comes off the press today, and will be in most of your mailboxes very soon.
Very exciting stuff. Now, we mentioned Tom Horn and the fact that we're sort of parallel ministries. We're parallel in another way, too, and this brings us to the announcement that we're going to be making today. This is a very special announcement. It comes from our heart. It's something that is a heart issue with us because we believe we're living in prophetically interesting times, prophetically special times. We're living in days when we can literally see the building blocks of prophecy being put one on top of the other in the Middle East. And in this setting, we are preparing to meet together and share our mutual knowledge. So that sort of lays the groundwork for what I want you to announce right now, Bob.
And even as we sit here and talk about this, we've got a military buildup going on in Syria.
Oh, yeah.
With Russian equipment arriving on the Syrian border. It just makes you realize just how very close we are to seeing a war in the Middle East. We may be here in September. We may be gone in September. We really don't know. We know there's a lot of speculation about the fourth blood moon and September 13th and all these dates that are being thrown around. But the planning process continues. 20 years ago when I first met you, you said to me that you plan like the Lord's coming back today and plan like he's not coming for another 1,000 years.
That's it.
So it's kind of a conundrum for us, being in the world of Bible prophecy. But we have accomplished one more of our goals that we're going to announce right now. There's still one more unfulfilled goal to reach that I'm hoping happens in the next 30 days. On another subject completely that's really important, there's actually a gentleman who wants to take our magazine to the whole nation of China right now. He wants to translate it into Chinese, and that's something you can pray about, taking the Prophecy Watchers ministry international. And with that said, I think it should come from you, what we're about to announce. Go ahead.
Well, you used the word international. and so today we are announcing an international prophecy conference called the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference, July 15th through 17th of 2016. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful get-together, but it's going to be more than just a prophecy conference, Bob. I think this is going to be an event that reflects the rapidly changing times in which we live. I think that the timing on this, coming as it does on the heels of things like the blood moon and the Shemitah and the wars that are brewing in the Middle East, economic catastrophe looming in Europe. What are the Chinese going to do? Everything is unstable and rapidly moving right now. The Bible speaks about all these things that are happening, and we are going to gather a list of speakers for this summit in the Rockies that I believe will be unparalleled.
It's the conference of the ages. I mean, we have a lineup of speakers that are pretty amazing. We're going to be meeting at the Marriott Hotel, that sits right in the shadow of Pikes Peak in the beautiful city of Colorado Springs. I lived there for about 6 months. I was kind of on vacation while I was there, transitioning between business and ministry. And I got to ride the Cog Railway, got to visit Garden of the Gods and Cave of the Winds, the U.S. Olympic Center, the NORAD headquarters. There's so many things to do and see. The U.S. Air Force Academy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a family-oriented town. You can even go and tour Focus on the Family or tour the Shrouded Touring Museum. There's just so much to see and do there. Beautiful weather, wonderful beds at the Marriott Hotel. A venue I'm sure many of you are familiar with based on past conferences. I've traveled the country in the last 6 months looking for the best conference locations in the entire United States. And every door closed for various reasons, except this door in Colorado Springs. And 2 months ago, we signed a contract with the hotel, and we will be back there next July 15th to 17th. Now let's talk about the speaker list, because I've got to tell you, it's kind of scary for anyone who loves Bible prophecy.
Scary in the way that that it's coming together. It's awesome. That's the word I would use, and I don't use that word very often, as you know. But this thing is coming together with, I think, probably the best minds in Bible prophecy. We're talking about people like Chuck Missler and Bill Koenig and L.A. Marzulli. Everybody knows and loves L.A. Marzulli, and he's, by the way, right now, as we speak, moving forward with even more discoveries, and who knows what he's going to have a few months from now. Bob, there is a, I think, a feeling about this summit in the Springs that I've never had before about a prophecy conference. And by the way, Tom Horn has thrown his weight into the whole operation, and he said, "Okay, I'm gonna help you guys. I'll be with you there." He and I are gonna kick off the conference, and I enjoy being on stage with Tom Horn. It's always not only fun, but it's kind of inspiring because he's got an imagination like you wouldn't believe.
I would believe it. Believe me, I know all about the Bishop of Crane.
Ah, yes.
You know, he is a genius in so many ways. You know, you left out one important name, Gary Stearman. You know, Gary's been doing a lot of new research on the rapture of the church, and I'm not going to spill the beans today about what he's discovered. He's probably about 60% of the way through his new book, and I'm kind of needling him to finish just as quick as we can because some of the stuff he shared with me is spectacular. You're going to hear about it at this Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference. There's one name I want to talk about because this is a name that I think everybody knows, covering a subject that everybody is interested in these days. It's Randall Price.
Randall Price is a genuine giant when it comes to archaeology. And when it comes to the integration of archaeological studies with Bible prophecy, there is nobody better. He talks about the Temple Mount. He talks about the mountain of Noah. He's actually done excavation work in both those places. He's done excavation work and sanctioned studies on the Temple Mount. And he comes with great authority. He's a fascinating speaker. I mean, once you begin to listen to what he has to say, I guarantee you just simply will not turn your head until he's finished. He's going to be fantastic.
Well, he's going to be talking about where the real location of the Temple Mount is,
Yes,
which is a brewing controversy these days that we're anxious to see Randall's perspective on it and be able to chat with him one-on-one and ask some really hard questions. You know, there is a controversy brewing.
You know, this is a year of brewing controversies, and I think it's because we're drawing so close to the end times that there's sort of a fervor that is developing. The rapture controversy. Is it pre-trib? Is it mid-trib? Is it pre-wrath? Is it post-trib? The discussion goes on, and I believe that we have a lot to contribute to that discussion. And as Bob mentioned just a minute ago, I've found some amazing discoveries in the Bible that tell me louder than ever that the rapture is not only pre-tribulational, it is quite pre-tribulational. More about that later.
Getting close, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, who knows where we're all going to be next July. I certainly hope and fully expect us to be at the Marriott Hotel in Colorado Springs. If we're been raptured and been taken to heaven, I'm really good with that too. But if not, I suspect there's going to be some real news brewing in the Middle East. You know, we've got Avi Lipkin and
Yes,
we've got
we have.
Bob McGinnis, both coming to the event.
Avi Lipkin, and I'm amazed when Avi comes by our studios here, he always drops some pearl of wisdom that a few weeks later, and maybe sometimes a few days later, just pops up and you say, wow, Avi talked about that before it even happened. He's very well connected to events in the Middle East. On Syria, for example, right here in this studio, he made this statement. He looked at me and he said, Gary, Syria no longer exists. And I said, what, Avi? It's still on the map. Yes, he says, but technically it's gone. And Bob, as his words have had a time to settle in, lo and behold, Syria is gone. That is, Bashar al-Assad is making preparations to exit that whole scene. The Russians are moving in. The whole diplomatic and military situation in Syria is changing rapidly. Well, guess who talked about it before it even happened? Avi Lipkin. Avi is going to be with us.
Guess who talked about it before Avi Lipkin? The Lord in Isaiah 17. Damascus shall become a ruinous heap, And here we sit watching Damascus confronted on all sides.
Absolutely.
And Bill Koenig's going to be with us. I mean, is there a better individual to talk about what's happening in Israel? In fact, Bill is leaving for Israel next month. He's going to be there for a few months. Bill's going to be writing some material for our publication. White House correspondent based in Washington, D.C., and another really well-known speaker who really has stage presence as well.
Indeed. And speaking of stage presence, we have a lot of people who will be with us. Derek Gilbert. Many of you remember Derek Gilbert. He's a young man who is becoming more and more enthusiastic about Bible prophecy. He has a long history of radio interviews, and he's now with Skywatch TV and interviewing guest authors, and Derek's going to be a big part of our presentation.
And you know, we have a lot of other exciting names. Carl Tykrib is coming down from Canada. Two of Tom Horn's authors, Josh Peck and Michael Lake, who've written some really fascinating material on the supernatural, on the Antichrist, on the Nephilim. They're both going to be with us. You know, our conference is just 2 months before the Summer Olympics. You know, Doc Marquis has a brand new DVD out on the Illuminati and all the signs and occult symbols built within the Olympic ceremony. When you actually hear who put this occultic influence into the Olympics, you're going to be amazed. I was stunned. Adolf Hitler had a big hand in what's been going on. Doc is going to be at the event with us in July, and I know right before the Olympics, he's going to have some fascinating things to share with us.
Yeah, the Berlin Olympics, with all the pomp and circumstance, was really the dawning of a new age nightmare, and it has continued to recycle to the point that every time there is a new Olympics, there is a new welling up of occultic power and force and symbolism, and Doc keeps his fingers on those ideas constantly.
Well, speaking of keeping their fingers on ideas, Joseph Farah is going to be with us from WorldNet Daily. And of course, Joseph is tracking the news literally all over the world. I know he's going to have something exciting. Doug Stauffer is going to be with us, and you know what Doug's going to be talking about.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Rapture. And by the way, he is a devout preacher of the pre-trib rapture of the church, the blessed hope, as am I, and we will join him gladly in that pursuit.
Did you just change his name from Bible Doug to Mr. Rapture? I'm sure that'll make him laugh when he hears it.
He may pick that up and use it. Who knows?
You know, two other really fascinating people coming that I really want to talk about. Brent Miller, who's the producer of the Final Prophecies DVD, has a brand new study series out on the entire book of Revelation. It's 10 hours long, and it features Mr. Stearman. They sat you down in a studio for about 6 straight hours under hot lights, handed you a Bible and said, tell us everything you know about Revelation 1. Just when you thought it was over, they said, tell us everything you know about Revelation 2. And you finished at the end of Revelation. And then you were finally done 6 hours later.
It was closer to 8, as I recall. And believe me, I drank a lot of water.
I remember seeing you coming out of there. You were kind of white as a ghost.
But it was worth it, because what Brent put together is the best compendium, the most understandable compendium of the book of Revelation, I think, that's ever been put on video.
It's fascinating. I mean, it really is a terrific work.
Yeah.
Now, there's a new name we've invited that we've just come to know. His name's Tim Mahoney. And Tim, for the last 12 years, has been preparing for the role God created for him. I remember talking to Tim 12 years ago when he was trying to raise funds for a new movie. The name of the movie is Patterns of Evidence, and it's a movie that highlights the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt into the Promised Land. He just released it in theaters about 6 months ago. It's now out on DVD. You and I actually went to a theater and saw it one night and watched some of the marvelous dating discoveries that he's made that confirms the biblical account of the Exodus.
Absolutely amazing, systematically presented. And I've said for years that if you have a timeline of events, the rest is easy. You can put events on a timeline and suddenly you understand. And that's exactly what he does.
Well, we've got other names committed. Joel Richardson, who just wrote a new book, When a Jew Rules the World, that you claim is one of the greatest books you've ever read.
It is. It is the greatest, I think, contemporary writing on the subject of supersessionism. That is the teaching in some churches that Israel has been set aside once and for all, and that the church will rise dominant in the kingdom. And of course, we don't believe the supersessionist doctrine, and neither does he, and he's documented this step by step by step in the most systematic way I've ever seen.
Well, a lot of people don't believe that the people in Israel today are actually Jews and that these are not the people God called back to the land. And so here's the answer.
Indeed.
Chris Putnam's going to be with us. I'm sure Chris is going to be talking about the discoveries he and Tom made in Arizona on the mountain there, the mountain with the Vatican-owned telescope, nicknamed Lucifer.
Why would you call a telescope Lucifer, Bob? I mean, wow.
Well, that's where the expression "you can't make this stuff up" came from. I mean, it doesn't make any sense on the surface, kind of like the Iranian nuclear agreement. No one can understand it, but yet it's happened. How does the Bible describe it? A hook in the jaw? We're being drug into those end times, whether we want to go there or not.
Oh, yeah. Let me just quickly point out that there is a 20-year mutual defense pact between Russia and Iran. Russia and Iran, mentioned in Ezekiel 38, by the way. And I could go on, but let's move to our next topic.
Hey, I had a gentleman tell me via email a couple weeks ago that Russia is Israel's best friend. So he hasn't read the book of Ezekiel, has he?
Apparently not.
Coming down from the uttermost parts of the north.
Against his will, by the way. I think God is going to draw Russia into the struggle.
Hey, I don't want to leave Paul McGuire out because Paul has got a new spectacular book coming out in October. Can't wait to read it and get it, called The Babylon Code. He always has the crowd at these prophecy conferences excited. You know, the great thing about coming to a conference is you get to meet all these people face to face. Have you ever met Chuck Missler face to face? Shook his hand. I mean, these people are down in the lobby. They're chatting with people. They're kind of holding court. A couple of years ago, our graphic designer, Daniel Wright, sat down and ate breakfast with Chuck Missler. And Chuck said, "Come on, sit down, let's chat." So all these people that you see on TV, you read their books, you actually get to meet them at these conferences.
Sure, you do. By the way, we're calling it the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference. Remember that word, international. It's very special. The summit in the Springs, July 15th through 17th of the year 2016. I think a significant year, by the way, engaging by what I see in the news every day right now, Bob, and then moving into the fall season. And of course, we have Rosh Hashanah coming up. We have the Shemitah. We have the fourth blood moon. Who knows what 2016
We
is
have the
gonna be.
Summer Olympics 2 months earlier, and we have the U.S. presidential elections just 3.5 months later. Are we going to see the last Trump of the book of Revelation?
I'm going to go skating right on by that one,
Thank
Bob,
you.
but I think I can take a hint.
Now, this is really, really, really important. And I don't want to over-exaggerate what we're doing here. I don't know where the verse in the Bible is that talks about, can a nation be born in a single day?
Yeah.
Can a prophecy conference sell out in a single day? That's the question. I don't know the answer to that today, but on October 13th of this year, I'll know the answer. Mark the calendar. October 13th is the first day you can register for our conference. Now, why are we sitting here on August 20th telling people about a conference they can't register for until October 13th? It seems nonsensical. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly why. A few years ago, when we began to launch these conferences, this is actually the 5th one that we'll be a part of in any type of leadership capacity. A lot of people didn't hear about the conference, and we sold the conference out in less than 2 weeks. We took 100 extra people that we didn't even have seats for because people were calling, they were angry, been supporting you for years, been watching, for over 25 years, and you're telling me I can't get into your conference? We took 100 extra people, and it created a little bit of a log jam for everybody. So what we decided to do this year is launch the news on August 20th and actually take online registrations on October 13th. So at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. on the morning of October 13th, you're going to want to get your computer out. You're going to want to go to prophecywatchers.com. And you're going to want to click on the big banner. Believe me, it'll be easy to find. That takes you to registration. You can register for the conference. You can register for lunch 1, lunch 2, dinner 1, all the events at the conference. You can register and secure your place. The Marriott Hotel have 185 rooms at the Marriott Hotel. The quicker you can call and book your room for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the smarter it would be for you, because we're already searching now for overflow hotels. We know it's going to be a river out of control here after this airs today. So if you're planning on being in the event with us, I'd suggest strongly you get a room right away. We will have some overflow rooms in some other places in the Springs where people will be able to stay and get a discounted rate. The room rate's $109 a night. Colorado Springs in July, in the middle of the summer, is normally about $185 a night at this Marriott. So I think it literally is a bargain. No parking fees, none of these other little add-ons that the hotels these days nickel and dime you with. The Marriott Hotel there is just a great group of people who've been really good to us.
The Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference 2016, it'll be July 15th through 17th. Mark your calendars, mark October 13th. Keep watching prophecywatchers.com for updates as we have them. Bob always managed to scoot a little something extra into that website, prophecywatchers.com. Bob, I think we're really excited that the time is right, the world developments are right, the dates seem right, everything is looking toward the year 2016 as an exciting prophetic period of time.
We're on the edge of eternity, there's no question.
Indeed.
Whether we make it there or not, we don't know. But if we're still here, we want you to be in Colorado Springs with us. It's going to be the prophecy conference of the century. It's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely.
And there's still 5 more names still yet to go. Invitations out there, just waiting for some of these names, and some of these names you'll recognize.
Indeed you will. For Bob Ulrich and holding my breath, I'm Gary Stearman. Thanks for joining us today on Prophecy Watchers. Thanks for joining us on Prophecy Watchers. You can find us on the web at prophecywatchers.com, where you can sign up for our free email newsletter, or follow us at facebook.com/prophecywatchers. In the meantime, keep watching, everybody, and we'll see you soon.